What will your photo or video business look like when you're successful? Who had a win this week? I want to hear from you. And likewise, if you've had a client from hell. Later on, we'll also have an open mic Q&A where you can ask me any business questions you have. Now, if we haven't met, my name is Daryl Stringer. My background is that I ran a photography business for 17 years, and for the past 11 years, I've been a photo and video business coach where I help amazing people build strong, viable businesses. And that's what I want to help you with today. So, to get things started, let's kick off with a segment I call
Who had a win this week?
Did you have a win this week or any time in the past month or more? I want to hear from you. So please drop your comment and share your win. Maybe you got a huge client to book a shoot with you, or maybe you're just starting out and you had some amazing breakthrough, whatever it is. If you consider it a win, drop a comment. Let's hear about it. I'll start things off. My wins this week, I got a new photographer who joined my coaching program. So that was great. I got started with this live stream, which I've been planning for a while. So it's nice to finally kick things off here. There's been a lot of setting up things in the background to make this happen. So it's a win for me to get this off the ground. Other wins this week, just when my clients do well. And it's been really great to hear some stories this past week from photographers who are getting new clients, or they're being invited to participate in events, or one photographer I know who is adding more team members just because they just can't handle the workload anymore and they're so busy, although that's a lot of work to get set up with new team. But it's just that kind of stuff. I just love it when photographers do well and have those wins. So please drop a comment here if you've had a recent win. It'd be great to hear from you. And then on the flip side, and this is coming from a bit of a different angle.
I've got a client from hell.
Did you have a difficult client this week or any time recently? Maybe it was unreasonable expectations around your deliverables, or how quickly you could send them the edited images, or just something crazy from a client. We've all had them. So if you think they were difficult, if you've had a client from hell, drop a comment in here. We don't need the name of the client. Keep it general if you need to, but we would love to hear your story. So let's hear what you've got. I remember one time I had a client who wanted me to take a photo of the view from this block of land that was up for sale, and it was this wide, expansive view where we could see the city buildings, but they were quite distant. Like, it was quite a wide view. Anyway, I zoomed in on the city and got a nice shot and showed it to the client, and he wasn't happy. I need to see the width. So then I went wide and got the full width of the view, but of course the city buildings were like quite small in the photo. So I showed it to the client. He wasn't happy. And I'll never forget it. He said, I want it wide, but close in. He was very disappointed that I could not get what he wanted in a standard size photo that would be appropriate for the real estate site where he was, wide but close in. So if you've ever had a difficult client, drop it in the comment. We'd all love to hear about it. So let me just check here. I thought I had something on this one. I'm just having a quick look on Instagram. Okay. Not sure if anyone watching at the moment has just got any comments of either wins that they've had this week or clients from hell. If you just want to drop in anything at the moment that you've had, drop it in the comments and I will be sure to share it, and we'll have a good chat about that if you want to, or if you're watching the replay, drop it in then. So our next segment here is called...
Now it's
this one.
It's time for open mic Q&A. Drop a comment or comment live today.
So what this is an open mic question and answer time where you can call in and ask me any business related questions that you have. As I mentioned earlier, I've been in this game a long time. It's over 28 years now. And as a business coach, working through situations or challenges with photo and video pros is what I do every day. So with this segment, you're welcome to leave a comment on whatever platform you're on right now. But if you're joining me live, you can call in like a radio show or a TV interview. I've got a link there. It's builderphotographybusiness.com/live. If you go there, you can click on the link to call me here in the studio. You can go with your webcam on or off, whatever works for you. So feel free to jump on there. But if you like, you're also welcome to just drop a comment. Happy to read through anything. If you've got any comments to share, would love to go through that with you. But let me jump on to the next section. And what we're going to do here is a bit of a coaching session. So just want to walk through this. So let me skip through here. So what we want to do is just talk about what will your business look like when you're successful. So the goal here is to structure your business and to do the things that move you towards the business you want, whatever that looks like. It's really important that we dial into the kind of business that you want to create, because that's when you're going to put the work into it. That's when you're actually going to enjoy what you do. So some examples here. If we look at this sort of graph here comparing time you spend shooting with revenue, this is showing here along here. It's higher here for time you spend shooting. So we're looking at high time and high revenue. So if that's you, then you would want to be shooting as much as you can. Or maybe it's you want to build a team. Maybe you want to manage or run it remotely. You want to spend very little time shooting, but you still want maximum revenue. Or maybe you just want to keep things small and manageable as a bit of a side gig. You want minimum time shooting and you're happy with minimum revenue. Let's compare things from a different angle then. We can then compare diversity with enjoyment. So on this graph here, we're looking along the bottom here, we're looking at low diversity, right? Because it's low at this end, higher on the right-hand end, but high enjoyment. So you want to focus on a small niche and you just want to love doing just that very small segment of the market. Or maybe you want to diversify and focus on the revenue, not so much on the enjoyment. You want to just maximize the number or the diversity of the clients that you want to work with. And the enjoyment thing's not so high. I think that's a bit strange, but if that's you, totally cool. So what you choose then impacts on so many decisions here. So for example, your target market, how will you engage with the potential clients in each market? If you want to minimize your time, do you need to maximize your prices? And do you want to be priced for high volume or priced for low volume? What will you need to do to make sure your business is seen by your target market? And then how will you position your business so that it supports your pricing? That's an enormous step to make. You've got to get super clear on where you want your business to be, because it's going to have a really big impact on those two areas. Then thinking about time management, how will you find the time to do the tasks that you need to do, especially if you intend to spend a lot of time shooting? So again, if you want to maximize time shooting, you still need to get all of that back end work done and, you know, deal with business development and getting more clients and everything. But if you want to really maximize the creative time, maybe you need to build yourself a team, and then that's going to then impact on your pricing. So the next thing then is, how many team members do you need to support your goals, and what systems need to be in place to help you manage those team members? You don't just bring people in and they go and everything happens smoothly. You've got to have systems underlying all of that to ensure that that team management process runs smoothly. And then finally, what gear will you need to suitably service the industries that you want to work with? So, you know, thinking about, do you need, you know, just in terms of lenses, but in terms of, you know, drones or video camera gear or lighting or mics or scrims or softboxes, like all of that, what do you need to be able to service the kind of clients that you want to work with? So what you need to do then is, one, just decide what success looks like for your business. So think about that in terms of the time you spend shooting, your revenue, the diversity of clients that you work with, the amount of enjoyment that you want to prioritize. Number two is to build the systems, set the prices, and do the marketing that will best position your business to achieve that. Okay, and then let's just think about some examples there. Let's say this is your business and you want to spend minimum time shooting, maximum revenue, diversity kind of lower to mid-range, and then high enjoyment. So the implications of that then for your target market is you want fewer clients, but you need to be confident that they want your service, or your just capacity to educate them that they need your service. Think about then the implications then for your pricing. It needs to be high to minimize your time shooting, because if you don't want to spend much time shooting, I mean, if you're just working for yourself, you need to still be able to earn that high revenue. So think about where your pricing is going to be in that, or you need to be able to cover the costs of paying for team members. So again, you need to be able to have your pricing right to account for all those team members that you'll need to hire to meet that sort of low time you spend shooting goal that you have. If you want low diversity but high revenue, you'll need to go heavy on expertise positioning and high visibility. So your marketing then has to be really strong if you're sort of going for that lower diversity. So you're going really deep with that sort of narrow band of potential clients. If you want low time, then you'll need to hire and train a team to deliver to a high level that matches your high prices. So that's where I spoke about earlier about having the right systems in place underpinning your team development. You need to have that in place so that you can deliver to match those high prices that you're doing. Because if you're competing against other photographers in your market who are going for low price, low quality, if you want high prices to support the amount of time that you want to commit to the business, then your marketing and everything has to underpin that, but then so does the quality of the work that you deliver, so that you're not sending team members out and delivering subpar work. Or maybe you want a different approach. Maybe you want to spend more time shooting, maximum revenue, but you want maximum diversity. So you just want that variety. You don't want to just be stuck in shooting, maybe school portraits or school or maybe sports photography. You want to do a big wide range of industries. So if you want high diversity, then you need to be able to manage the expectations of very different clients, because working with schools, working with sports teams, working with weddings, working with real estate agents, working with builders, I mean, they're all very different expectations. And then if you want high revenue, that you then need to look at where to price yourself to generate high revenue when diversity is high. So if you're going for high diversity, you're a bit more of a generalist. Are you going to have that capacity then to price yourself at that higher price point? Marketing and positioning is going to take a lot of work if you want maximum diversity, because your positioning will need to change a lot with that diversity, because again, your communication that you do to your B2C clients will be very different to your B2B clients. So you just need to be able to manage that expectation. Again, it's doable. I'm just being really clear that it's just understanding what the implications are based on where you want to position your business. Think about then if you want a larger team, and that's made up of people with unique skill sets for different industries. So again, if you're working with consumer clients, but you're also working in the B2B space, think about what the implications are then for that in terms of the team members that you're going to need to have. You may not be able to hire people that can do that, wide span of diversity. So therefore, are you needing to then hire individuals for specific industries or genres or services? So again, what you need to do then is to, one, decide what success looks like for your business. So get really clear on that around all of those different parameters that we've spoken about. Build the systems, set your prices, and then do the marketing that will best position your business to achieve all of that. And 3, execution is everything. So it's not just about talking about this sort of stuff. We need to be able to put it into action. That typically takes time and work, but you need to be able to execute on this and not just say, oh, one day I'm going to do all of this. We need to have a plan in place, and we need to be able to implement and put that into action across that, revenue, pricing, and how you're going to get that diversity and how you're going to position your brand to appeal to whatever narrow reach that you want to go for, or if you want to go for a higher reach. So now it's over to you. Do you have any questions at all about any of that? Feel free, if you're watching this later, drop in a comment. If you're watching this live, for those who are here, feel free to drop a comment in now. Be happy to look over that. Or if you've got, if you want to, you can even call me in and we can have a bit of a chat. So if anyone is interested in talking further, I'm happy to open up a Q&A, just thinking about, what does your version of a successful business look like, and what impact does that have on your business in terms of diversity of clients or time or enjoyment? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Or if you've got any questions for me, drop them in the comments, or if you're watching live, you're welcome to join me in the studio. Just seeing, I'm not seeing any comments dropped just yet, I don't think, but just checking in on everything. What I will do then is just a couple of comments that I've seen pop up generally from other forums. Just want to sort of run through just a couple of little things. Let me see what I've got here. Okay, this was a good question I saw. Someone asked, what's the best way to spend money to get clients, not one-off things? Again, lots of different ways you can go, but if I was to say what's the best thing that you could invest in, I would probably lean towards investing in people for your team who can prioritize marketing and business development and all of that. So maybe it's hiring like a virtual assistant who can prioritize the marketing side of things. Just having someone that can actually be focused on that, if that's not for you. The other option then is you could then perhaps even hire someone to do your shooting, and you could then spend more time doing the marketing side and the business development and that side of things. So in summary, I would say investing in people is the best way to spend money to get clients if it's not a one-off thing. Short of that, just working on how you can just be as visible as possible within your selected market. What do you need to do then to make sure that you're seen by whoever it is that you're trying to be working with? Just looking then at one more comment in that regard, someone asked, has anyone ever hired a teenager or something as like an intern or anything? I've previously hired people like that. I've sort of been having my my teenage son do some work for me in that regard. Look, that can work. I guess it just depends on what's the role is that you want them to be doing. If they're more of like an intern, then maybe it's more office-based, and so that's where doing things like social media engagement can work great for those people who are, if you're getting someone young who's very familiar with social media, but just don't assume that they're good at it. just because they're young or they're a teenager doesn't mean that they have the skills. So you will still need to perhaps train them and monitor them. But that could be one thing that you work on them with. Another option then is that you bring them in and teach them around shooting, whether that's photography or video or any of your other services. That can definitely work. You kind of starting with them fresh, perhaps that can work a bit better than if they come to you with maybe some years of experience. Sometimes that's not so positive. So just working with the teenager in that regard can work great. So I would be getting really clear on what's the role that you want them to do, and then just bring someone in who I guess has a passion for that role. So trying to find someone who doesn't really want to be doing photography or video, but you sort of bringing them in because they're just looking for work or something, that's not going to be such a great fit. We want to find people who really love the work that they're being put into. So I would just be spending time to find an appropriate intern if that's the role that you want to fulfill. All right, just checking if there are any comments. I'm just looking, no, can't see anything here just yet. So let me jump on then to the next bit. Just as we then wrap things up, if any of you would like to talk with me about business coaching and you just want to see if it's a good fit for you, feel free to schedule a Zoom call with me I'd love to talk with you about anything to do with that. Okay, so that's it for today. Oh, let me just click through there. There we go. Okay, that's it for today's show. I hope you got something out of that. Please, if you're watching this later on, drop any comments that you have here then. I'd be happy to jump on and reply to any of those. Otherwise, I will be back here, hopefully, at the same time next week. And I'd love to see some of you back here again then. And we'll have a bit of a chat and just go through some more business tips with you. But again, if you've got any questions, message me in the meantime. All right. Thanks.